Wednesday morning, just out here on the canal. Final proper run before the half marathon on Sunday. So in this video, I'm going to run over my approach to essentially leading up to the half marathon, the changes that I'm making to my running, my weightlifting, and also I'll touch on nutrition a couple of days out from the race, because obviously I'll be carb loading from Friday onwards. But today I had a 2k warm up from the door of the apartment to the canal. This is Business Bay Canal, for anyone that knows Dubai. Then I've just got 4 times 1k at race pace. Target race pace I've been training for is 4:15 per kilometre, which would have me at an hour and a half marathon. But to be honest, it's going to be very, very hot on the weekend. So if I could hit that, I'd be over the moon. I think I'll be running more like a 1:33 to 1:35. But I'm going to push it today because I'm feeling good and it's not too hot. So I'm going to try and run those splits at between 4 and 4:15 just to open the legs a little bit. Then a 2k cool down, and then I'll probably just do a 5k shakeout on Friday. So yeah, that's the plan. I'll screenshot the stats, but it is getting hot in Dubai at the moment. I think it must be about 23 degrees already, and it's only 7 o'clock. So I'm just gonna grab a bottle of water from this shop and then get going. First rep down, 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Went out a little bit too quick, down at like 350, so slowed it down. But it's always difficult when you're tapering to not run faster, because obviously you feel good because you've had a bit of a break, but it's just important to stick to the plan and the result will be better on the day of the race. That building is goals. Gonna live on top of there one day. There's a penthouse on top of there that's 20 million pounds, not dirhams, pounds. Third rep done, 1 more to go. You're averaging about 4 minutes. Feeling good. Absolutely unreal around here. Canal on both sides. You can run on. Did my marathon on that side over there. Ran all the way from Kite Beach. If anyone knows where that is. I think it was 18k one way, 18k back, so 36k, and then I had to find the last 6k, but it was good. Did that back in November. It's the only marathon I've ever done, actually. And the reason I wanted to do that one was because I've done loads of half marathons, prepped for the Edinburgh Marathon a couple of years ago, but I got injured right at the end. So I'd done lots of like half marathon preps, and we were coaching a few clients to do the full marathons and stuff, and I just didn't feel comfortable coaching someone to do something that I hadn't done. So I just went out and did one after about 3 weeks of training and ran it in 3:22. Very, very conservative. So plan this summer is to base build all summer, lots of zone 2 work, just 1 speed session a week, and then train for a close to 3 hour, between 3 and 3:10 Dubai Marathon, which is in January. So that's the plan, but I'm going to go and get this last rep done now. Just sitting on the balcony having my breakfast. I will insert the clip before this, but obviously explained earlier on in the video, I'm going to run over what I'm doing in prep for my race on Sunday. So it's only a half marathon, so it doesn't really require a crazy carb load, but essentially what I'm doing today, Friday, 2 days out from the race, I'm trying to get my carbs up to 500. To be honest, I don't really like to go crazy high carb. I feel like sometimes it bloats me up a little bit, and I'd rather not be feeling super bloated on the race day, which is why I'm carbing up 2 days before, and it will take over 24 hours for the carbs to assimilate as glycogen in the muscle, which is the energy that I'll be using when I'm on the race. That's a big mistake people make, is they carb load the day before and it's not truly effective there. So tomorrow will be normal. I'll be hitting my normal calorie amount of about 3,300 calories. But today, basically what I'm doing is getting some carbs in early. So I had 2 squares bars this morning, then I have my standard meal. What I've done though is reduce the fat intake a little bit in that meal. Usually it's quite a high meal, high fat meal, sorry. So it's oats, protein powder, blueberries, and I usually have dark chocolate and peanut butter. What I've done is just pull the peanut butter out, just to reduce the fat a little bit, because when you're increasing the carbohydrate intake, if you want to keep your calories around the same, it would make sense to obviously bring the fat and the protein down a little bit. So today I'll probably just shoot for 150 to 160 grams of protein. Usually I'm having over 200, which makes space for more carbs there, just so I can carb up. And then tomorrow is just going to be a big focus on staying hydrated. I'm actually going on a boat tomorrow, so it's going to be hot, so I'm going to make sure that I get plenty of water in. But yeah, not too crazy of a carb load. As I say, it's only a half marathon. To be honest, for me, it's going to be more about the hydration on the day and during the race, because it's probably going to get up to about 28 degrees, even at only 7 a.m. So that's going to be my main focus, is making sure that I take on a good amount of water before the race, plenty of sodium, plenty of electrolytes, and then that I take on plenty of water and electrolytes actually whilst I'm running as well, because that's a mistake I made last year. I just did not take on enough water, and I don't think I had any salts. Obviously I have a little bit of sodium in the gels, so today I need to go and buy some gels as well. I'll probably do 3 or 4 gels on the race. That should be more than enough, but yeah, that's the plan. So today it's Friday, which means heavy check-in day. So I've got a call with one of my team, gonna get majority of my check-ins done, then I'm gonna head to the gym for a very, very light lower body session. It's literally just gonna be some mobility and some very, very light deadlifts, just to get a little bit of blood in the muscle. And then I'm gonna do a 20-minute shakeout on the treadmill, and that's the plan. But my sleep and recovery this week has been fantastic. Been in the 90% on route the whole time. HRV is back up into the 170s, which is pretty high for me. It's been hanging around the kind of like 150s and 116s over the last couple of months, so showing that I'm fully recovered and ready. So if there was ever a time to run a good time, it would be this weekend. But obviously, as I say, the main factor is going to be the heat, because it has such an impact on, it's just so much harder to run at those faster paces, because you just sweat so much. So yeah, hydration is going to be key. But yeah, I'm going to get this food down me, then do check-ins, and then head to the gym. "20-minute shakeout run post very light leg day." It is 2 p.m, so it's nice and hot. Not actually too bad. I've just finished my weight training session and ordered my eggs on toast, so they should be ready by the time I get back to the gym. But this feels good. It's all about heat acclimatization. It's going to be easy running at 7 a.m. after this. So yeah, I'm gonna box this off, have my food, do some check-ins, and then go home. I've got 3 consultation calls tonight. If you haven't seen the news, Dubai flooded this week. It's the most rain that they've had in 75 years in the UAE. So all the roads are fucked. In, going strong, averaging about 422, just being conservative now. It's pretty fucking hot. 10k in now, holding the same pace, but starting to get harder. It's getting hotter.
How do you guys feel about the music? I love it. Yes, let's go. Come on, nice speed, nice speed. Get out of his way. Yes, the energy.
Just finished. The course was only 21k, so sprinted the last 0.3, come in at 1:31.28, which is a PB in the UAE. So the actual race time probably about 1:31. Absolutely fucking buzzing with that. Paced it so well. The wheels fell off a little bit in the last 5k, but buzzing with that. Okay guys, so I'm going to round off this video by going over the stats from the race. I realised watching it back, it was just a fucking amalgamation of loads of random clips from that week. I am going to make more of an effort to actually kind of strategize these vlogs and stuff, but right now I just want to get some good content out there, and hopefully obviously you can take some value from it. But essentially what I did on the week of the race, obviously the half marathon race was on the Sunday, and I usually do 2 upper body sessions and 2 lower body sessions per week. So I do upper body on Monday, legs on Tuesday, day off on Wednesday, then I do upper body on Thursday and legs on Friday. So I actually followed that training structure on the week of the race, but basically what I did was upper body remained the same. I still pushed to an RP 8 or 9 like I usually do. Lower body intensity I brought down a little bit on the Tuesday for legs, because that's a squat and lunge session, which usually leaves me with a lot of DOMs, and I wanted to put a good amount of effort into this race. So I basically just pulled down the volume, I pulled down the intensity. I didn't work to more than an RP 5 or 6, so I actually didn't have any DOMs the next day. And then on the Friday leg session I did the absolute bare minimum. My strength training sessions include quite a lot of mobility work anyway, so obviously I did that, and I did all the movements and exercises in my program, but I just didn't go anywhere near failure. And then I did a nice little shakeout run, which we will have seen early on in the video. I think it was just 20 minutes on the Friday. Then I completely took Saturday off, actually went on a boat party, didn't drink, and then we drove up to Abu Dhabi on the Sunday morning and hit the half. But in terms of nutrition, I carb loaded quite high on the Friday, so 2 days before the race. It's really important to make sure you get a good amount of carbs in 2 days before the race, because it will take over 24 hours for the carbs to assimilate as glycogen in the muscle. That's a big mistake that I see a lot of people make, is they just consume a ton of carbs the day before, and they just end up feeling a little bit bloated on race day. So I think I hit 550 carb on Friday, which wasn't crazy high, because from my point of view, like, I didn't want to feel bloated and heavy on race day. So I had 550 carb on the Friday, and then Saturday I had a usual carb intake. I think I hit 500 on the Saturday as well. And then on the day of the race I had 2 small bagels with honey, and I had like a carb powder pre-race. On the actual race I think I had 3 gels, and I focused massively on getting a lot of fluid in, because when I did this race last year, it was probably the worst race I've ever done. I just wasn't taking on enough water to keep myself hydrated, because I was obviously running in very hot temperatures. So I think I must have consumed over 2.5 litres of water on the race, which is a lot in a half marathon when you're only running for just over an hour and a half. So I was really, really happy with how I performed and how I handled the hydration and the pacing. As I say, I think 2.5 litres of fluid in total, and I actually had 4 sachets of an electrolyte powder that I use, and I put extra sodium in those as well, mixed with water, to just make sure that I was fully hydrated, and it seemed to work really well. I picked up one of those every lap of the race, so it's 4 laps of the marina, just over 5k each. So every lap picked up water that my girlfriend handed to me. So it worked really well, and I ended up, it says here that I set a PR in my half marathon. This isn't actually my PR. I did go just under 1:30 last summer in the UK at the Great North Run, but I was more impressed and pleased with this time, to be honest, just because of the heat. And I think, to be honest, if I'd done that in cool temperatures in the UK, less than 15 degrees, I think I would have run it in about 1:26, 1:27. The actual chip time was just under an hour and 31, but I didn't hit a half marathon on my watch. It was like 21k, so I ran the extra 200 meters or whatever it was to hit the half marathon time, because I wanted it to come up on Strava, which is why it says 1:31.27 there. But super pleased with the time, just because, as I say, the heat was horrendous. As you can see here, distance 21.09, average pace 420, moving time 130, 127, and then average heart rate 175. Then you can see here the paces and the splits that I ran. So as you can see here, very, very consistent the whole time. I think the biggest range was probably the quickest split was 414, and then the slowest was 443, which is the first one, don't really count that. So the biggest range would have been about 15 seconds per kilometer, which is great because historically, usually on races, I go out way too hard and I tend to suffer in the last 10k, especially in these temperatures. So I deliberately went out slower, which is why you can see the first split was 443, and they actually felt a little bit good. And there was a group of about 10 of us running at the front, and I didn't want to kind of leave them behind. They were clearly running a 130 race, just a little bit ahead of me. But as you can see, very, very consistent in terms of pace and heart rate as well. Heart rate never actually went into the 180s, which I'm surprised about, to be honest. But the first 3 laps, the first 16k were pretty manageable because I was being conservative, and then obviously we were racing against the sun because the sun was getting higher, it was getting hotter every lap as well. So the last 5k I struggled. I managed to maintain the pace, like we didn't go over 430, but I did find that a lot harder, which is why you can see a slight drop in pace there. But overall, super happy with the effort, and it just makes me excited to be running in the UK. And then at some point, I hope I can do a half marathon in cooler temperatures because I really think I can definitely break 127. But yeah, that's a rundown of the race. As I say, further videos are going to be more structured, just in terms of like clips and stuff like that. And obviously, a lot of the clips from this video were shot portrait because I was putting them on Instagram and stuff, obviously my main platform. But yeah, if you've got any questions about how I prepped for the race, please let me know. And obviously, if you are interested in coaching and learning how to balance strength and physique training with endurance training, which is what myself and the other coaches on my team teach our clients to do, then hit the coaching inquiry form in the bio with the video, and obviously go and have a look at some of our other videos too. I will be releasing a client case study at some point on here as well, so look out for that.